"Oh, servant girl," Styx says aloud, looking up towards the ceiling with a smile. A clear, crystalline, young female voice can be heard softly from all directions. "Yes, master. Please activate the holo displays for all normal functions across the ship," Styx says with a smile, looking back to the group. "I thought you said that they were a waste of energy, master, and that you wanted to conserve as much energy as possible," the servant girl says in reply. The smile freezes on Styx's face in embarrassment. "Remember those reading the situation and timing conversations we had last week? This is one of those times," Styx says, still smiling at the group and laughing as if everything was as planned. Green hololights and displays appear on the surfaces in the interior of the spacecraft. Styx once again motions Cooley to enter. "There you go!" As Kanan leaves Cooley to his quarters and follows Styx once again, Styx whispers to Kanan out of Cooley's hearing. "Variant females are very exciting to mate with, given all their spikes. Some of them grow erratically when you pleasure them." He winks at Kanan, looking forward and then quickly swinging his head back and saying in a slightly louder tone, "But of course don't mention anything like that to your friend Coley there. Their species don't procreate with other species under risk of exile or death." Kanan gives Styx a strange look, his metal arms readjusting to carry the child on his back a bit better. He decides to ignore the older pirate's sexual remarks and ask a different question. "This ship did not appear to be this big from the outside," Kanan says, as he looks around seemingly endless corridors and so much hologram information as to overload the visual senses. Styx swells proudly. "That's the experimental reality compression technology this ship contains. Be careful you don't wander off, as it can be quite confusing, and you can get lost in this marvelous maze of a spacecraft. Simply ask the nearest wall your destination, and the holorays will show you the way." Styx motions for Kanan to follow him into what appears to be the med bay of the ship. Advanced robotics were ready and waiting to take the child from Kanan's metal arms and lay him on a stasis table. Styx grabs Kanan's upper right arm and backs him away. "You need to be clear of the medical equipment. Would hate for you to suffer ironic pain." He gives a little laugh as they watch the medical equipment conduct scans and tests on the child. Servant's voice sounds from the air around them. "Unknown genetic and energy materials detected." Styx's mouth drops open. "A servant! You have access to all of the information databases across the main civilizations. How can that be?" "Regardless, master, you know I test all things a multitude of times before even giving you any information," servant says, sounding a little annoyed. "And so you do, dear servant," Styx says, quickly turning to Kanan to appraise him anew. "What exactly is this child?" Styx turns to read the data readouts. "With the energy readings coming off of him, it's as if he were a small sun contained in a child's form, and a lot of detail was laid in as to hide his true energy contained within this tiny form. Not so sure this is even a child." Styx looks at Kanan and then asks, "What was Remy doing with this child? Why did you free him?" "I have no clue, but I wasn't going to leave the child there," Kanan replies. Styx looks thoughtfully back at the child asleep on the stasis table. "I hope it does not prove to be a hazard. I have other guests on this ship I wish not to come within harm." Kanan is surprised and wonders just how big the ship is. An alert sounds from the monitor at the stasis table. Styx quickly looks at it. Servant, the child is awakening. Why didn't you utilize the sleep field? If you would actually look at the information I am providing you on the monitor, you would see it is, in effect, without any effect. Servant replies in an annoyed tone. Styx slowly slides his eyes back to the monitor to see that yes, indeed, the sleep field was enabled and active without effect on the child. The child's eyes open. Everything on the ship flickers for a second, including Kanan's vision, which has static for a brief moment. Styx looks around in horror, then stares back at the child. The child is looking at Kanan without turning his gaze. That was bad news, my friend. We might have been detected for that brief disruption in the ship's systems. Styx rushes out the door, calling for Servant with no reply. The child turns its gaze from Kanan to look at the energy signatures holding the stasis field in place, which keeps him from moving. He disables it and looks back at Kanan. The med bay's robot arms move out of his way as he begins floating through the air to an upright position to stare Kanan dead in the eyes. What is that curious energy you contain? The boy asks in what sounds to be an old Earth English accent. In fact, what are all these different energies doing combined within one being? Are you like me? The child asks curiously. Kanan shakes his head. I don't think there's ever been anything like you, according to Styx's computer. You are unique, as am I, as is every creature. That is logical, but my curiosity is not satisfied. This being my first awakening since what you call birth, the child says, cocking his head to one side as he looks at Kanan. What? How can you speak then? How do you know anything? Kanan asks, surprised. I have programs sifting through databases I have access to, and I'm currently in Styx's ship's computer. I haven't been awake long, but based on what I'm seeing, I wouldn't trust him. The child smirks. If you even have a chance to live. I've been having a hard time trusting any creature as of late, Kanan says, shaking his head with a sigh. Most creatures are looking out for themselves in the end. You can trust a creature only with naivety.